Welcome to the afterlife. You're being reincarnated as an Ankylosaurus. Before you ask, yes, you have the tail club. We'll get to that. But if you're picturing a life of dramatic battles and prehistoric violence, I need to correct your expectations early. What you are actually about to experience is the most aggressively unbothered existence in the history of dinosaurs. You are a 60-ton tank that chose peace. You are built like a fortress, and you are going to use that fortress to eat plants. Quietly. Every day for the next 70 years. You're welcome. Right, first things first, you need to be born. You're an egg, buried in warm Cretaceous soil in what will one day be the western United States, Montana, roughly 66 million years ago. Late Cretaceous floodplain, rich, lush, green. Your mother laid you and left. This is standard. You're on your own, and you've been on your own since before you cracked the shell. What your mother did give you, without knowing it, was the single most effective defensive blueprint any land animal has ever been issued. You hatch. You are the size of a large rabbit. You weigh maybe 2 kilograms. You are, at this particular moment, extremely vulnerable, and you know it, because your armor hasn't hardened yet. The osteoderms, the bony plates embedded in your skin, need time to mineralize properly. Right now, you're soft and small, and the Cretaceous is full of things that eat soft and small things. You hide in dense undergrowth, and you eat whatever you can reach, and you grow. This is the plan. This is the whole plan. Here's what you are. And once you understand what you are, everything else about your life makes sense. You are an ankylosaur, specifically Ankylosaurus magniventris, the largest and most heavily armoured of your kind. Your body is covered in osteoderms, bony plates and nodules embedded directly into the skin like natural armour plating, not attached to the skeleton underneath, but fused into the skin itself. Along your back, they form rows of thick oval shields. Along your sides, they're smaller and more numerous. On your head, they fuse together into a solid bony skull cap. Your brain is inside a box made of bone that has a box of skin armor around it. You are protected in layers. Your tail ends in a club, 2 large masses of fused bone, the knob, connected to the end of a stiffened tail that can swing like a pendulum. The tail club weighs roughly 30 kilograms on its own. Scientists have estimated the striking force at speeds your tail can reach, and the number they arrived at, somewhere in the region of thousands of newtons of impact, is enough to shatter the bones of anything alive in your era. The club is real. The club works. You know this the way you know everything, instinctively, without thinking about it. What you also know, instinctively, without thinking about it, you rarely need it. You are now fully grown, and fully grown takes a while, maybe 15, 20 years of steady eating and steady growth until you hit your final dimensions. Low and wide and armoured and heavy. 4 meters tall would be impossible for you. Not because you lack the mass, but because your legs are short and positioned wide apart under your enormous barrel body, like a table with an armoured surface. 4 meters long. You are 8 meters long. 8 meters of armoured, club-tailed, plant-eating permanence. Your full weight is somewhere between 6 and 8 tons. Your legs were not built for speed. Your top speed is estimated at somewhere around 8 kilometers per hour, a brisk human walk. You are slower than a fast cyclist, and you have never once cared about this fact. What's going to catch you? Everything in this landscape has already run the numbers on you and arrived at the same answer: not worth it. You spend your day eating. The Cretaceous floodplain is extraordinary, rich with cycads, ferns, flowering plants that are relatively new to the world but spreading fast. You are low to the ground by dinosaur standards, which puts your mouth at exactly the right height for all of this. You eat at ground level and slightly below it. Other dinosaurs have to reach up or bend down awkwardly. You just walk forward and eat what is in front of you. Your beak shears vegetation. Your cheek teeth grind it. You eat and you walk, and you eat and you walk, and the day is full and good and thoroughly, completely, entirely unbothered. A triceratops moves through the same clearing. It looks at you. You are eating a fern. You don't look back. The triceratops moves on. Here is something remarkable about your brain. It is the size of a walnut. Not metaphorically, literally a walnut. You are a 6-ton armoured dinosaur with a brain smaller than a piece of fruit. This is not a problem. You do not need to outsmart anything. You do not need complex social strategies or hunting intelligence or the ability to recognize patterns in prey behaviour. What you need is to eat plants and to swing your tail if something goes wrong. And for both of those tasks, your walnut-sized brain is completely, entirely, perfectly adequate. You are not a stupid animal. You are an efficiently programmed one. Your intelligence is exactly as large as it needs to be, and not 1 gram larger. Scientists who study ankylosaur brain structure have found evidence of enlarged olfactory regions. You have a strong sense of smell. You find food partly by smell. You detect threats partly by smell. The wind tells you more than your eyes do, and your eyes, positioned on the sides of your wide head, give you a very wide field of view anyway. You are difficult to sneak up on. You are difficult to approach. You are difficult to do anything to at all. And the combination of these qualities with your armour and your club has resulted in a life that is, by the standards of the Cretaceous, almost transcendentally peaceful. It happens once. You are at a river crossing, a moment of genuine vulnerability, because crossing water means the armour on your underside is exposed and your tail is less effective in current. You know this without being able to explain how you know it. You approach the crossing carefully. A juvenile T-Rex has been watching you from the bank, young enough to be stupid, old enough to be dangerous. It comes at you from behind. What happens next takes approximately 1 second. Your tail reads the vibration of the approach through the ground. Your whole body is wired to detect vibration, low-frequency information that travels through the earth before any visible threat is close enough to be seen. The tail swings. It swings with the full pendulum force of a 30-kilogram mass on a stiffened biological lever, accelerating through its arc and connecting with the side of the juvenile's leg. The crack is audible at some distance. The juvenile T-Rex limps away into the undergrowth, making a sound you don't recognize. You cross the river. You find a dense stand of cycads on the far bank. You eat. The years go on. You learn, in the limited but sufficient way that your walnut brain learns things, the seasonal rhythms of the floodplain, the river crossings to avoid in the wet season, the open areas where the ferns grow thickest in the dry months, the particular smell of a Carcharodontosaurus that means danger, versus the smell of one that is moving in a different direction. You are not thinking about these things the way a human thinks about things. You are running your programming, and your programming is ancient and thorough and exactly right for the life you are living. Something large follows you for a full day once. You smell it. You keep eating. It follows you for another hour, and then it stops following you. Because after an hour of watching something that absolutely will not panic, will not run, will not do anything except eat plants with complete calm, even a large predator updates its assessment and moves on. You have been using the psychological weight of your own indifference as a weapon your whole life. You didn't decide to do this. It is simply what you are. 66 million years ago, the asteroid arrives. It is not a metaphor. It is not something that could have been avoided. It arrives from space, 12 kilometers wide, and what happens after it arrives ends the non-avian dinosaurs, all of them, the predators and the prey, and the giants and the small ones, in a geological instant. You are eating when it happens. You are eating because you are almost always eating. The impact is too far away to be heard as sound. The first thing you notice is the ground vibration, and it is unlike anything your vibration sensing system has ever registered. A frequency that has no match in any previous experience, that your brain has no category for. You stop eating. You look up. This is the only time in your long life that the world has produced something your programming cannot identify, cannot assess, cannot route to an appropriate response. The sky is wrong. The temperature is changing in a direction it has never changed before. The wind is carrying a smell that has no name. You are not afraid. Fear requires a brain large enough to model the future. And your brain is a walnut, and this is not a criticism. It has served you perfectly for 70 years of unbothered, armoured, club-tailed, plant-eating life in the most violent landscape your planet ever produced. You lower your head. You try to eat. That's your life as an Ankylosaurus, the most unbothered dinosaur that ever lived. And honestly, goals. Subscribe to Life if you were, and we'll put you inside something completely different next week. We've got something coming up that has a skull made of solid bone and uses it to headbutt everything. See you there.